what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. The tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by, they've set in stone, but it's not.
Hey everyone, it's Mary Ann from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. Today is May 28th and it is just after 6 p.m. And we are really getting busy with these interviews with candidates running for city council and mayor. So we have another interview today. And let me just grab my calendar really quick because I have, I think, 3 this week. Yep, I do. Today we have Abou Diakhate, who is running for District 49 in City Council. That is the seat that is currently held by Camilla Hanks in City Council. No, Camilla is not on our intro 1096. She's not supporting us. And she's not had any conversations with us this year either. So Abou is also running for that seat, and you'll hear from him shortly, and he'll tell you why he's running. Tomorrow, we'll be meeting with Vanessa Aronson, who's running for District 4. And then Friday at 5 o'clock, we're meeting with Brad Lander, who's a Democrat councilman, Democrat current comptroller running for the running for mayor. So you'll get to see all these 3 interviews this week. Today's interview is at 6. Tomorrow's is at 6 o'clock, and then Friday is at 5. So I posted the images up on all of our socials, so feel free to just go and check those out. And then join us wherever you're comfortable, because we do live stream this into Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can find them there as well. We also leave them under the live. So if you go to our YouTube channel, YouTube has our videos kind of chopped up to where they want to put them. Usually our lives, like this is a live stream, will be under the live tab. So make sure you subscribe and like to our videos so that on YouTube, on our channel, so that you know when we're actually going live. You'll get a notification and can join us. So you can find our videos under videos. You'll find them under shorts if they're under a certain amount of minutes, like under 3 minutes, which I'm rarely under 3 minutes, or you can find them under our lives. So today I want to introduce you to Abou. He is running for New York City Council. He does support New York City retirees, which is very, very important for you to know. He is one of those candidates that when we had asked him in our original meeting if he would support retirees after explaining to him the issues that we had, we wanted to make sure that he would not force us into Medicare Advantage, would save our traditional Medicare, make sure that he helped uphold the promise that was made to us, that you would have your traditional Medicare and your senior supplement upon retirement. And then the other 2 issues were expediting the Medicare B reimbursement. Right now, you're getting that reimbursement between 16 and 22 months after you pay it. And we wanted to get it back in the same quarter in which we're paying it in the same year. And then the third thing is that grace period, that right after the retiree passes, they lose their health care on the same day for their dependents. We wanted that grace period that the dependents would have to secure their health benefits for their family members, and as well as keeping that open lines of communication open for everyone. So those were the 3 things that we had asked, well, actually technically 4, and that Abou had agreed to committing to if he was elected. We know that we've been having trouble getting Ms. Hanks to support retirees. He's going to tell you why he wants to run for that seat as well. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Abou. Hey, that rhymed.
Hi, Marianne.
How are
Thank you,
you?
Marianne.
You're welcome. So tell us
Thank you.
why you're running for New York City Council. What made you interested to run for political office?
Thank you, Marianne. First and foremost, please allow me to say that I'm thrilled to be here with you And thank you for the opportunity. And I wanted to say hi to all the New York City retiree. They are really my hero, right? Really my hero, right?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So, with regard to your question, as you know, Marianne, I'm running for City Council in District 49 because the North Shore residents of Staten Island, they deserve better. Right? They deserve a better representation. Our district, our home, in my heart, it deserves a leadership that at least listen. At least that's the least you can do is listen, and also understand and take a meaningful actions, right, based of your constituent issues and concern. And yes, election, as you know, by definitions, is about the future. My focus right now is the future. The past, it's a past. But accountability matters to us because those who vote you in will eventually vote you out if their expectations are not met. And I believe in our shared potential and our power to create a brighter future for the North Shore. That's why I'm running for City Council.
So you've run into some of the things that we did that she's not listening to you too, I guess.
Yes, flip flopping, it's known. It's a world known flip flopping. And that for me, it's very disrespectful. And Marian, as you know, we talk about it. When it comes to our retirees, when it comes to our New York City retirees, I don't have no friend. When it comes to people health, people money, I don't have no friend. One day I will be a retiree. So it's important for me as an advocate, because I'm
Hmm.
an advocate, I'm a social worker, I'm an organizer, to
Yep.
make sure that I fight the right fight.
Yep.
Fighting for the retiree should be a moral obligations for every elected official in New York City. It's a must.
I
And I
agree.
stand behind and I stand by right there to stand and to be the voice of the New York City retiree. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. You have a couple comments here. Laura says, yes, it's immoral what's been going on. You get it. You absolutely do get it because you've been seeing it just like we are. Um, and I don't think they knew you were also a civil servant.
Yes, I do. I'm a civil servant. I'm a proud member of the CSCA.
Yep.
I work for the New York State Unified Court System.
Hmm.
I have been serving this great state of New York and the great city of New York City for the past few years. And
Very.
serving the community also, which is my track record, because my track record said it all. Proud to serve these great people of Staten Island, the community at large, the community of Staten Island, which I dearly carry out in my heart. That's why I'm giving back actually, because I told you about it. I learned my English here in Staten Island,
Hmm.
right?
Yes,
I
you
get
did.
my undergrad degree here in Staten Island, went to grad school here in Staten Island, get my first real job here in Staten Island. I'm giving back to Staten Island.
Yes, that would be a great way of doing it and serving your community one more time. So, tell us a little bit more about what is driving your desire to run for office. What are some issues in your district that you want to address to make better for your fellow Staten Islanders?
You know, this community, our home, as I said, deserve somebody at least who can feed them with empathy. For over 2 decades, I have called this community home. I have walked its streets, worked alongside its people, and witnessed the challenge and the triumph that make us who we are. But we never give up because we believe in bringing all force together so we
Mhm.
can find solution to our problem. Rising housing costs is a reality in New York City. The cost of living, you know, unequal access, to health, which is
Yep.
your platform, our
Right.
platform. That's why I'm here today. Unreliable transportation.
Transportation. So, how does one get from Staten Island to any of the other boroughs?
And Staten Island is unique, right? Because it's an island, right?
Yes.
You heard people say the forgotten borough, right?
Yes.
Yes, people
I
said
think
it.
Joe Borelli said at one point he wanted to secede from New York City.
Exactly. And transportation, we need a, ro- a, a reliable transportation system. Living in the island, most of our resident constituents work in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, in other borough, and struggle really with this congestion prices. Leaving the island, going to other borough is a real struggle, right?
Yeah.
So, what we can do to solve that problem is to tackle the problem at the root cause and make sure that people we will not get frustration on the daily basis because of this situation that create a real problem in our borough. I
Right.
attended a lot of community forum, a lot of meetings. That question, always the question related to transportation, has been raised by our constituents. What needs to be done and what she's doing actually. And I'm gonna say it. She's the one who is representing the District 49 in City Hall. And as you know, she used to be in the transportation committee. What happened there in the transportation committee is not a secret because a lot of people know what happened in that committee because she served in the community for a small period of time and left that committee. What tells you having an elected official working in City Hall, serving his constituents, and cannot even come up with a tangible and concrete piece of legislation, a piece of legislation that will allow her constituency to say that at least, we can have some source of relief that can tackle this issue. This is where we are.
Where you're at. Ellen asks you a question. She says, do you support reactivating the North Shore Rail Line? Many seniors like commuter rail. Make it easier to get to doctor appointments and do shopping.
Yes, I do support it. Anything that our senior can benefit. Because listen, I'm not going to call them, say that because transportation is key and mobility, it's a must. If we don't take into account our senior citizen concern, because I'm saying it here because it's a platform I'm using this to say it, it's really a problem for us to say that, we're going to city council just to fight a fight and to be their voice. But what do we have to offer them or to say this is a solution to your problem? Yes, I do support that. And if elected, I will make sure that my voice is heard to tackle that issues from the root cause.
So educate me because I'm not all that familiar with Staten Island. What is this North Shore Rail Line?
I mean, the North Shore Red Line, as you know, Staten Island, the borough of Staten Island, we
Right?
have three districts, right? The District 49, the District 50, and the District 51,
Yeah.
right? And people, most of them go to St. George using the train system, right?
Okay.
The train system that take the part of the South Shore, cross, Mid Island, and go to the North Shore where they can take the ferry. So now there is a survey that was done by some coalitions, and organization to ask, the our constitution, are they considering, you know, putting a system in place that will improve the transportation system? And as you said, the largest room in the world is a room known as improvement, and many of them, accepted that yes, they should take into account the transportation, the railroad, and bury it in the way that, in the way where it's gonna benefit, you know, people who commute from the Mid Island and the South Shore to the North Shore, and those who are taking also the ferry to other borough.
So if I'm looking at this map of Staten Island, it looks like an MTA train line that goes from Tottenville all the way up to the ferries. Is that rail that she's speaking of?
Yes, yes, yes,
It's like
yes. That's the
literally
same one.
one blue stripe from the bottom of the island to that's it. So is that not working now?
Yeah, I mean, it's working, but it require improvement. We run the
Right.
only rapid transit line on Staten Island as part of the New York City Transit. You know, and now there is some common question that already that always has been raised, when it comes to even the Staten Island bus map, the subway diagram, all that is part of that map that you just say is not only the train, but also uh, the transit bus system, including the access, a right, which is known as a paratransit services that will also provide services to our senior citizen. That one also is part of the problematic.
And she's saying there is currently an unused line that could be reactivated. That would definitely help if the trains weren't timely or frequent.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And I know I over the summer I've taken that ferry from Lower Manhattan to Staten Island quite often. It's actually a nice ride, which I did enjoy. But and actually, I don't know if you know this, during the Labor Day parade,
Mhm.
we actually brought our retirees to march in that Labor Day parade, and we designed a float to look like a Staten Island ferry, the
Yeah,
Dorothy
that
Day.
awesome. And this is what we expect, living in a community, taking into account the well-being of our senior and make sure that they are part of the process, because my approach has been very inclusive. And anything that we can do, to count them among, because they shouldn't be left behind in terms of reform, in terms
Right.
of piece of legislation, in terms of policy, they
Yep.
will definitely be part of the process, and they will not be left behind. And we will make sure to have many initiatives that will acknowledge and accept, what I just did with my endorsement, to express, what is needed to have a city with a dedication and integrity, which will move to preserve and access to traditional, traditional effort, and current effort that will, you know, put retiree, into a good plan, and the plan that they wish to have, and make on your platform is one of them as well.
Right, absolutely. So, what are some other issues within Staten Island district that you would like to change? Is there something there that you want to improve upon or create that's not currently there?
Education is one of them, to better. I know when you talk about education, many people say, oh, it's the responsibility of the state, but at the city level, we have
Yeah,
something to take into account, because we are part of the stakeholder group, where we can also think about securing the education, the school resource, make
right,
sure that we expand after school program, and ensure that opportunity is there for our children as well. And, bring back those vocational, training, where, our children can learn more, and make sure that they have path to success, because education is something that eventually lead them to success. Beside that is food, because I am someone who is always, in the community visiting food pantry program. And there is, a real struggle right there. There are families who struggle, including senior citizens, to put bread on the table. If you go to our food pantry program run by some CBOs, community-based organization, you
Right.
see the line, and the line is really scary if you see it. And people do not know that those people line up there are there to access food. So
Hmm.
no family should face hunger, including senior citizens in our community. And if elected, I will advocate for healthy food, and I will expand and provide resource to food pantry program in our community and promote urban agriculture initiative for them. And this is something that I will definitely take into account, including also our shore. You see the beauty of Staten Island. If you come to the North Shore near the ferry, you see the
Right.
nice shore we have there. And our waterfront is really our treasure, and that must serve everyone, not a particular group where you give advantage and opportunity to developer,
Yep.
that we have to make sure also that we lead to effort and revitalize, the Staten Island shoreline, for economic growth that will take into account small business on Bay Street. We have a lot, and also take into account also that environment is key, right?
Right.
And we also focus on environmental preservation.
Yeah, when I about 20 or so years ago, I was involved with New York Institute of Technology and with their chef program.
Mhm.
My many people don't know this about me, but my very first degree when I was in college in the 80s was culinary arts and hotel restaurant management. So
Right.
in that time, we were teaching people to garden even on rooftops. And the chef used to at New York Institute of Technology, one of the chefs for the school
Mhm.
used to have a rooftop garden where we were teaching people to garden in raised box beds using coffee grounds and soil and composting
That's
and
nice.
we even had like these worm bins which were kind of disgusting, but we would give them paper and food scraps and create earthworms to put back into the soil for our garden. It was pretty amazing for doing that. It was like just over 20 years ago. That was a great way to teach young people, even in urban areas, how they can garden in the city. So,
Yes, it's very important. You see, Marian, we want a fun and vibrant city. And this is what makes New York City unique, right? I
yep,
think in the five borough also we can, promote access to have a diverse food, music, art, festival, especially now in the summertime, everywhere in the five borough, you have festival fair
yep,
and concert, and that is very important to me, because culturally responsive education is one of them, but also, you know, opportunity also for sport and recreation. All this, will lead to something that will benefit us as a human being, because people are working hard and the level of stress is high. But also this will allow us as an elected official to give residents to have access to opportunity to celebrate their culture and diversity, and gathering is one of them, to preserve environment, also to educate our constituency about global warming. It's a reality right now, right?
yes,
Because environment people, they many of them do not get the sense of one of the challenge in the world now. Environment is one of them, and I definitely, concur with you, as you just mentioned, give those organizations that have their focus area on environment also to give them more resource, more funding, so they can make our environment more vibrant.
yeah. I thought actually one of the interesting things that came out yesterday. I mean, I don't usually say that too often about Mayor Adams, is that he said that they were going to take these vacant lots. It may have actually come through. It was either him or it came through first deputy mayor Randy Mastro, and he said they were going to take vacant lots and make them pocket parks. So I like that idea because, the city has had in Manhattan has this fight over on like the Elizabeth Park. Excuse me. I think it's the Elizabeth Street Park. And one of our former attorneys and our former public advocate who's helping that legal battle in that case. So green space and green areas in Staten Island. So what are your parks like there?
Yeah, first empower our community through education is key because that I see it as a preamble because in the city also, it's very important that we make information accessible. As an elected official, I don't see myself like even my office should be a resource center for the community, and the different areas, housing, transportations, environment, and also have some mentorship program that start at school, to teach our children, about the importance of environment. There's a lot of initiative and a lot has been done also, give them opportunity through civic participation and ways to get involved in their community because, every single street here in my neighborhood, you have a community gathering. It's very nice on Sunday morning. I pass by, sometimes I stop by just to spend 2, 3, 5 minutes. It's the way to get involved in the community and way also to learn new skills. And that is something also I will make available and I will do my best to keep the momentum because a lot has been done and not to stop those initiatives, but to keep the momentum on that side.
So Laura says many of our council members have put aside their empathy to feather their own nests. What she's referring to is there's a couple of actually two of the largest unions in the city of New York have, for example, one of the council members, we were given audio from a meeting that they were basically controlling that council member's position by withholding either endorsements or campaign support, especially if they supported us. And that becomes a problem because then you become owned by the special interest. The retirees have been abused over the last 4 years. When Mayor Adams was running in 2021 and he was 2019 for 2020, I guess 2021, 2020, 21. He said, oh, this is a bait and switch, Bill de Blasio. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be switching their healthcare. We'll have to take a good look at this. And this, you made these promises to people, promises made. And then he became mayor and walked back what he said. So it's been very frustrating to see that. Some of the conversations we've had with the incumbent in District 49, she'll just say, like, repeat what the speaker says. Well, I'm just watching the court cases. This potentially violates collective bargaining, all of this other stuff. And we know that that's not true, that a council can protect our retiree health benefits of the promise that was made to us. And it doesn't touch collective bargaining because we're not in their unions. And there is a way to be able to pass a bill, even if the language had to be nuanced or tweaked a little bit and they don't like the language, you can still work out those details. But the basic premise of protecting what was made, the promise that was made to a retired person who's not represented by any other entity, and for 60 years had been protected by the council, that should remain. So that's what she's basically referring to, because many council members, like DC 37, literally said to candidates this year, we're not going to endorse you or support you if you're not, if you decide to support the retirees. And then if you do, after we endorse you, we will withdraw that support and endorsement. And they did. Councilwoman Alexa Velez, she supported us, and DC 37 withdrew their support and endorsement for her. It was the ugliest move I had ever seen a labor union do. And in the council, the political machine as a whole should have rebuked that union publicly. And instead, they all stayed quiet. So what happens when you allow abuse to continue, or you don't call it out for what it is? You don't call out a bad actor for abusing its retirees or selling off their health care when they're elderly and disabled to finance their raises. You're allowing that abuse to continue. And that's what's under Speaker Adrienne Adams, under her tenure is what she's been allowing to happen. And that's what has left us all in this position for 4 years. It's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen in a city council, where under decades before, they've always protected Medicare, the federal public health benefit, and retired persons, because they recognize that there was no support. So Laura's
And
concerned about that.
and she's absolutely right. As you know, through these shows, and you and I, we had meeting previously, and I acknowledge and accept, your endorsement. And I want to express again my sincere gratitude to Laura and to all our fellow retirees, and to say that I'm standing here on behalf of thousands of retirees who have served our city, with dedication and integrity. And the challenge retirees face, you know, it's real, and the
Yeah.
struggle is real. And I'm proud again, Maria, again to reiterate that I stand with you and New York City public retiree, and publicly affirm my support for the following three critical issues. And I made that my top priority. If elected, you can count on me to sign the legislation related to the 1096,
Thanks.
and
Thank you.
and that will protect, our healthcare system, will protect our retiree, because they need a safety net. And I'm very happy, to know that one of my colleague, from Staten Island, Frank Morano,
Yeah.
has support that. And thank you to him for
Yes.
understanding that this is a moral obligation when it comes to preserving access to traditional Medicare, when it comes to making a priority to a grace period for family health care, because anything that affects me, right, will affect
Okay.
directly my family, and my family
Absolutely.
needs some sort of protections. And that is very important to me also. And timely Medicaid Part B, which you mentioned, which was known as a traditional Medicare, is part of it as well. And I oppose any effort to force retiree into Medicare Advantage plan. I support and maintain the promises paid for supplemental coverage to traditional Medicare without hidden cost, backdoor premium, copay, or increase deductible.
Whoop,
And
whoop.
you can count on that. And my hero
There you go.
are dearly here in my heart. And that fight is my fight, is our fight.
Absolutely. Thank
And
you
we
so much.
thank
I,
you.
I have to thank you for thanking Frank as well. So we also supported Frank, and he was so excited after he went through his like, I don't know what you call it, like his little inauguration, where he was appointed his councilman,
Right.
and he got into office, and he called me and he said, "Marianne, it's Frank. I just want you to know my very first official duty today was signing on to 1096." And it was
And that's it.
exciting for him, and it was exciting to us. And I said, "This is awesome, because you're one step to help us and one step to protect you. Because if you stick around long enough, this will be your future. So thank you for being invested in it." So it was
And listen, Marian, problem solutions. When it
yeah,
comes to solution, in this political sphere, it has to be a bipartisan effort.
absolutely.
Mentioning Frank, because me and Frank, we are on this together. We both got endorsed by the New York City retiree. And
Yes.
that's, I'm proud to mention him, because, bipartisan effort matters to me. And I will stand with those who carry the interests of the retiree at heart.
Absolutely. So let's see. We have Ellen says our city council bill sponsor Marte is finding that DC 37 is now supporting his opponent. They're using their PAC funds to do this. Yep, we were just talking about that, Ellen.
Yes, yes. We talk about it, and this is
Yeah,
something also that is aligned, with this priority that I just mentioned.
right.
As a proud advocate, as a proud community organizer, I'm a proud social worker as well.
Well, and
And
you
I
understand that affects that as doing social work. what the effects of people not having health care or even access to medical care, or some of these decisions of finances able to help them, causes them in their lives.
Yeah, exactly. And social worker, you know what we do, right? People saying, "Oh, it's a you know, less paying job." I choose this field because I know the meaning of empathy. I know the meaning of caring. About our senior citizen, our retiree. Caring the underserved, those who struggle on the regular basis to take three paycheck to pay the rent, those who have a fixed income, retiree,
Right.
what they can do with the cost of living. The least we can do is to advocate for them. And I will continue to stand with them. And as I say, to answer that, the promises made are the promises to
Yeah.
be kept.
Robert says, thank you for stating that commitment to support legislation that will protect us. You're welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Anne says, we need more people like you willing to stand up to the forces from outside. Thank you from all of us, says Anne. And Laura says, beautiful, Abou. I like how you're also extending your hand to Frank Morano, who sees the retiree issue the same way.
Thank you.
See. Ellen says, social workers deserve a special place in heaven. They don't earn what they deserve, but they do work of the angels.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you.
Let's see. Laura says, forcefully, Abou, it's also moving to see Marianne, who's been fighting so valiantly for us to feel encouraged by such strong support. I do, Laura, and this is why we had basically said it was really important to be able to get behind candidates. Look, we know that there's many city council people. There's 51 of them. I can't do literally I'm doing this 3 days a week now and sometimes 4. And one day we did 5 where we were holding meetings on a Sunday. So it's important to get behind candidates that will truly support the listen to the people, listen to the problems. They want to affect change. They want to help you, not what's in there now. Like you've got Adrienne Adams, who's District Council 28, currently the speaker, and she says, I'm not Adrienne, I'm Adrienne for the people. I want to empower the people. Meanwhile, we're the people, right? Like we are the people. We haven't been empowered. She hasn't been listening to us. She's shut us down. You can't say that you're Adrienne for the people and you want no drama when you've blocked our bill. You've prevented it from having a hearing. You're not giving us any speaking time to air this issue publicly, and all you keep doing is burying it. When you see someone that says, tell me what your problems are, and I have to credit Jim Walden for saying this to us, because Jim first said to us, tell me the 3 biggest problems you want me to fix when I'm mayor. I like that he had conviction. He wanted to be mayor and he thought he was going to be mayor. And he probably will be mayor. I hope he will be mayor, or at least someone like him will be mayor because he supports us, right? Like most of the mayoral candidates at this point do support us. There's only like a few that don't. And then he said, put that in writing. Make me put that in writing. Make me sign that and put it on my campaign letterhead. And we did. And at the bottom, he says, now share this with everyone else that's running for office and make them responsible to that commitment and hold them accountable. And we did. We took that letter and we started sending it to all these other candidates and said, meet with us, learn our issue. And when they do, and they meet with us, we say, okay, if you're willing to do this, then we're willing to support you for office. And we will be there for you, because we know hopefully one day when you're in office, you'll be there for us. And look, that's working. I mean, Frank was in the week. His first official duty was to sign our bill. I mean, how amazing is that? So that's why when you see, like Abou says to us, I see these things and I want to fix them. I want to be heard. I'm a constituent in Staten Island and my representative isn't hearing me. That speaks volumes to us, because it tells us that even though some of our issues might be different, because we're primarily retiree healthcare, you have many other issues for living in the district as well. But we're saying the same thing, and we want to see change, right?
Yes. And change, Marian, doesn't happen overnight.
No.
And I think vision is very important And whatever we do, as you've been fighting for decades, to ensure that nobody is left behind. I think this election is about all of us. You,
Right.
me, the retiree. It's about ensuring that every single retiree, every single, you know, a person has a voice, you know, and a stake to our future. And I think, together we can transform, our vision, transform our community into a place where families thrive, business work, flourish, and every residents feel that they are part of the process and they should not be left behind, including our valuable and outstanding retirees who are my hero again.
Ah, thank you. Matthew says, will you align with the Common Sense Caucus when they are promoting legislation that supports municipal retirees? So there's many caucuses within the council.
Yeah.
There's a progressive caucus, a women's caucus. There's many different caucuses. One caucus is this Common Sense Caucus. And
Right.
there's some Democrats, there's some Republicans. Their Democrats are more conservative Democrats. I don't know if you're familiar with this caucus, but he's asking if you are familiar with it, or if you've looked at it, would you be joining that caucus? Do you know?
I will look at it because again, it's very important that when you tap into those caucus that will, make the right transformation that retirees are expected. And I think it's required to be part of some working group and to understand the problem and
Yeah,
to have a consensus where we can find a sustainable solution. Actually, it's not like those
right.
overnight solution that will bounce back again. Yes, I believe in sustainability. We will not sit here and talk about those issues anymore. That piece of legislation will be get there and will add up and we put our retiree in the safety net, and that's what I believe on.
I'll tell you, the council does have the ability to pass a bill or at least get a supermajority on a bill when they want to. And they recently just did one in 6 days where there's
Right.
like 47 people on that bill. Our bill was introduced last year, died,
Mhm.
brought back
Mhm.
again this year in 24 for 25. And
Right.
I've got like, I think what guys, 15, 16 people on that bill. They're
Mhm.
not doing it. And the speaker is blocking them. Literally, the speaker has threatened council members with discretionary funding for their district and also for committee seats. So, like, for
Mhm.
example, when Lynn Shulman and Sylvina Brooks Powers, and Lynn, by the way, is one of those council members that the union says that they basically own, quote unquote.
Right.
And she's also the chair of health she's from Forest Hills.
Mhm.
Uh, when that happened, totally forgot my point now.
No, it's okay.
It's just I just like was like out the window.
Mhm.
Yeah, I lost my momentum. Damn.
It happens. It's happened, Marian.
It has. Well, yeah. So Robert says our issue cuts across political ideology. That this point is important because we tried to make this a nonpartisan issue. Healthcare
Mhm.
is a human right, not a political fight. They've politicized this, both the unions and the council.
Mhm.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. The speaker, when both Sylvina Brooks Powers and Lynn Shulman decided to
Mhm.
endorse Andrew Cuomo for mayor, she stripped
Mhm.
them of their budget seats because they were on the budget committee, took their seats away from them. That should never have happened. And now I'm being told that the speaker's term is up. She's term limited. There's someone else running for her seat,
Mhm.
and there's going to be a new speaker. And right now um, they're looking at Julie Menon, who also is not any supporter of us, does not want to meet with us, has never met with us. She's also an attorney, doesn't want to speak about this issue. And Crystal Hudson, who's chair of aging, same thing. So these are two people that, while maybe they've done some good things, I'm sure somewhere for somebody, it was never us, and they're not listening to us and they're not speaking with us. That becomes a problem. And so
Yes.
that's why we decided to make sure that we got involved, because we started feeling that there were a lot of people out there that were not happy with their elected official giving them no time, no courtesy. We had one retiree who went to go see her city council member, and his staff got so fed up with seeing her because she was fed up with not getting an answer. They
Right.
called the police on her and
Oh my
6
God.
police officers, and then he lied about it, saying she threatened them, she cursed at them. That was never the case. But of course, he's the councilman, so his voice and his bully pulpit's bigger. He'll just say whatever he wants to say and still doesn't address this issue. With all the information that has come out about Medicare Advantage plans, how destructive they are. Look, you've got
Mhm.
literally United Healthcare imploding in financial disarray, and yet Julie Menon has not, also an attorney. Lynn Shulman, also an attorney. Sean Abreu, also an attorney. They're not paying attention to this issue, and they
Yeah.
should be. And it's
Yeah.
that frustrating.
And what about that word known as equity that we all stand for, right? We've been fighting for equitable healthcare, and I think, fighting the fight and taking into account that sooner or later our constituency, those who vote us in will hold us accountable. Accountability is matters to me, and I think, for us, affordable healthcare shouldn't be a privilege. I always say that, you know, it's a right, it's a human right issues, we cannot blink right and turn left, right? Flip flopping doesn't help, solve people issues, you know,
Yep.
and apparently, the one from the districts 49 has been known, flip flopping when it comes to people health. I
She
have to
flip
say
flopped on
something.
us.
Yeah, yeah, a flip flop, of course. Right? So when it comes to that, also people got to understand that advocacy doesn't mean lip services. You have to align to some of the principles that we believe on, some of those core values that will put us in the situation where they say, yes, at least integrity matters to this person. At least, Now, when it comes to expanding local health care to our retiree, there should be no question to be asked, Marian,
I
right?
know.
It's healthcare services, service provided to who? Who are our target population? Who will benefit from this? you
Yep.
know and trust me, if elected, I will make sure that address those gap, right, in care for our retiree, our neighbors, their family, and
Yep.
those who will benefit from this, and you can believe me on that.
Thank you, Abou, because I want you to know that, and many people may have forgotten, but Ms. Hanks signed
Mhm.
on to our bill in November in the morning and jumped off the bill that afternoon. Uh,
Wow.
and then I was speaking about this, and a reporter heard me talking about this because she would be the first person to do that. Darlene Neely from Brooklyn was the second just a couple weeks, just like 2 weeks ago. She jumped off the bill, and like the week before she had signed on. And so when the reporter called her office to say, hey, how come you got off 1096? And the staff was like, she was never on 1096. And I said, that's not true. I have a picture of her signing on to 1096. I know.
Historical moment. Historical moment.
And they were like, no, she never did that. Like now watch her say it was a staffer, it was an error, it was a mistake, it never should have been done. I mean, she'll come up with some excuse after another. But I mean, I'm very well aware of why she's doing that is because she wants the support of the speaker, and the speaker's telling her not to do it. We know the speaker's doing this because council members told us. So it's no surprise to us. So in these last few minutes, I'm going to give you these last few minutes to close and say anything that you'd like to say. So mic is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Marian. I just wanted to say that my journey began in Senegal, West Africa. 24 years ago, I came to America. I have learned the value of hard work. I have learned the meaning of community and resilience. These lessons has and have taught me a lot when it comes to serving the people, when it comes to leading with kindness and integrity, when it comes to feeding people with empathy. And this office that we're all seeking require those core values. I wanted to thank you and thank you everyone who believe in those core values. And thank you also to those who believe, in my slogan, Abou for you. Because Abou for you stand for the people. And people have been my strength and even my source of strength. And serving, this is what I have been doing for the past 24 years. And I think it's very important that we instill in ourselves and those who wanted to be or elected to be to understand and to stand up for what is right. Thought and prayers to those who used to serve this great city of New York who are no longer around. Some of your colleagues, some of our seniors, I carry their wisdom in my heart and I stand before you and the New York City public retiree and tell them that your fight will be my fight. Thank you, Abou, for you.
Thank you so much, Abou. So if you're looking to support Abou for office, running for City Council District 49, his website is down below. It's running on the ticker. And you can see right now it's just coming right up. It's you could say https://Abou, ABOU, for FORUYOU.com. And I'm going to put that in the chat just in case it doesn't make it there. Let me go. Oops. I think I had you up here. Yep, I do.
Thank you, Maya.
And I'm just going to copy paste it and put it in the chat. So anyone that watches this video can go and watch it. There you can click. You can join his campaign. You can make a small donation to him. You can canvass for him, help him, get out his vote and make sure that he's running successfully in District 49, Staten Island. So thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you coming to meet our New York City retirees. We are currently live streaming this video right now into Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and Instagram, and it'll be emailed out to all of our retirees. So thank you so much for being with us. We totally appreciate you. Let us know if you ever want to come back and if there's something we could do to help you out.
Thank you, Marianne. Pleasure is mine. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Abou. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. So everyone, that is yet another candidate. If you are a Staten Islander living in District 49, if you're unhappy with Camila Hanks, who is currently the incumbent, and she's been there not supporting us, has not had conversations with us, keeps making one excuse after another, not willing to get onto 1096 and help protect our retirees, then we are here to help you make sure you know who does support you. The retirees does have a website. Our website, other than our organization site, we have a political campaign site. And that website is retiredlaborstrong.nyc, where you can see all of the constituents, all of the candidates, all of the candidates who are running for office, who are supporting us and asked for our endorsement. And if they committed to the issues and signed the letters, then you will see their photos and their links to their websites on retiredlaborstrong.nyc. Please go make little donations to them, do campaign calls for them, help them out and make sure that they get elected, because that is your power. You don't have to be in their district to do that. Of course, if you are, it helps them even more. But many of our retirees are homebound and they're able to make calls for candidates to help get out that vote. So please get engaged in some of that. That's our political action. And it's important that we can all do that. Just because you don't live in the state doesn't mean you can't do something to help out this movement, because the more people we get into office that support you, then the faster we can get these bills passed. And then we could basically go back to retirement, albeit staying quite vigilant, but that's what we would do. All right, everyone, you guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow when we talk to Ms. Aronson, who's from District 4. We have met 2 other candidates, both Rachel Storch and Ben Wetzler. This will be the 3rd that we'll be interviewing tomorrow afternoon at 6 o'clock. And then, of course, Friday at 5 o'clock p.m., we have Brad Lander on Friday. And then, of course, you'll see me in the morning at 7 a.m. on WBAI, and you'll hear our show then as well. So, but I'm sure I'll be talking to you in between. For all you UFTers, no, we don't have any results yet on the UFT election. I know everyone is nervously waiting to see what happens. It's great that all of you were able to get your votes out and advocate for the slate that you supported. We know that the current incumbent has been absolutely treacherous to retirees, our healthcare. They're still spewing out misinformation, and we want to make sure that that ends. And we have good, strong labor leaders in office that are willing to protect not just their employees, but their retired members as well, as because we don't always have a seat at that table and don't always have a seat in that room. And because of that, they were able to take advantage of us, and that they did, and sadly set a horrible precedence. So hopefully those things change. Thank you, Kathy. I had my hair done today. I did take a half a day off. I'm not usually one to blow my hair out. I like it looking kind of like, zhuzhed, but this is my new do for the day. I'm sure I'll go back to curly in a couple days. So you guys have a great evening, and I will see you tomorrow night. And remember, if you are in Abou's district or you know people in Staten Island, please share this video with them. It is on YouTube. Send it. I will also be sending out the email today as well, so make sure you share that with all your Staten Island friends. It's important to know that that Abou is running as a Democrat in Staten Island, and he supports retirees and protecting Medicare. And that's not something that the incumbent is able to say. So you guys have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by, baby, set in stone.